This is Rise. Let's lock in with the goal of changing one life at a time. Yours. Together, let us rise up, inspire, strengthen, and elevate our minds. It's time to Rise on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Hello, my name is Dr. Saran Heron, and welcome to Rise. Today we're going to be talking with Francesca Burack, CEO and President of Fearless Talent Development, Inc., an award-winning seasoned professional with an unwavering commitment to fostering excellence. Francesca brings over 3 decades of experience in executive leadership, talent development, and organizational transformation. She has a key business sense, is a sought-after international speaker, and a respected author whose insights have shaped the trajectories of countless professionals and businesses. Francesca delivers transformative solutions that empower individuals and organizations to reach their full potential, guided by her firm belief in the power of continuous learning and growth. Francesca's approach is grounded in empathy, authenticity, and deep-rooted passion for people's development. Her leadership style has earned her accolades in the industry, but for Francesca, the real reward is in the success of the people and the organizations she serves. So she is making a difference. She's transforming others with vision. She's here today to share her experiences, ways you too can be fearless, change, and be empowered to rise. Francesca, welcome to Rise here on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.
Oh, thank you so much, Saran, and thank you for this invitation. It's always such a thrill and an honor for me to be on college campuses, even if it is through radio and not face-to-face, which is my preferred method.
Right. I agree with you. Now, Francesca, you are the CEO and president. You're also a teacher. You hold a master's in teaching and counseling and guidance. I just want to share with us, I want you to just share with our listening audience, like, how did you get into counseling and guidance counseling for those who may be listening and maybe thinking about that profession?
Well, I started out in education and I thought I'd be there for life.
Right.
And, my journey took a different bend in the road there.
Right.
And I became an educator, a teacher first. I love being around young people. They inspire me every day.
Right.
There's so much to learn from each other, especially in the different generations.
I agree.
And so I became a teacher, and then I went on for my master's and got my MS in guidance and counseling. And I ran a drug intervention prevention program. I was the number 2 person in the school.
Nice.
Music and art, part of Fiorello LaGuardia, if anyone knows New York City schools. And
yes,
the movie
sure.
Fame from so many years ago.
Yeah.
And I just loved it. But unfortunately, back then, and I don't know if it's changed, employment was based on a seniority system.
Right.
And I got bumped. One day somebody showed up with more seniority than I had, and she was ready to take over my job that day. It was very strange. And so I had to bump a teacher, in the department, and she became a substitute teacher in the building. So it was a very strange time.
I think some places probably... Some places still have seniority. I think it's out there still. I'm not sure how the bumping would go, but seniority is still existing even in colleges and in teaching. Believe me, I could tell you, I can relate. Now, you're the CEO of Fearless. Now, how did you decide on that name, and how long have you owned your own company? So congratulations on that, by the way.
Oh, thank you so much. So fearlessness is a really, really important aspect that one should develop, a talent, a gift that one needs to develop. So when I was thinking about a name for my business, I wanted to make sure that Fearless was a part of it. Right. And then it's all about talent. Talent is all of you out there. You are the talent in any company.
Agreed.
You're the talent, and they have to focus on you. And the development part is we have to be lifelong learners. And if we're going to stay young at heart, And physically, we need to be lifelong learners and continue to challenge our brains and our souls.
I agree. And how long have you owned your own company?
Oh, well, this one about 8 or 9 years, but
Wonderful.
prior to that, I had Burack Consultants International.
Oh,
I do a lot of
nice.
international work. And then I had Take Action Now. I still have them in the background. They're not my primary
Right.
focus. And Take Action Now is all about small companies, and Fearless is all about individuals.
Nice.
So
I love it.
they're different specialties, but they work together very well.
Nice, nice. Now, you've spoken internationally, like you just mentioned, to many people. And, we're going to be talking about being empowered and becoming fearless, which is our topic today. And I wanted to share, like, from talking to other people, what are some common problems you find why people have, like, this difficulty to be empowered or just speaking up for themselves?
There are so many reasons. First of all, if you're a woman, you already have a strike against you. Let's face it, if you just look around the world today, not just in the United States, women's long fought for rights are being taken away on a lot of different levels. So women growing up, we're taught to be nurturers.
Yes.
We get our little dolls,
yes, of
and
course.
we're taught to play and take care of
From
them.
children, right? From being a child,
Yes,
right?
yes. And, we all have those stories. So we're taught that. And if you watch your mother growing up, in my generation, now it's a little bit different, but women sacrifice a lot for their families.
Right.
They're always, once women have children, their life really becomes second to their children. It's all about their children. And so sometimes, they speak up for their children very well. But
yes, we do.
Right?
yes.
But sometimes it's very difficult for women to speak up for themselves. They could speak up for other women,
Right.
but we find it difficult to speak up for ourselves. So we have to work on that. And there are ways to do it. If you want me to get into that now or later.
No, we'll get into it later. But
Okay.
but like you mentioned, just being a woman, but so by default, right? The type, your sex type. But I want to go straight, into, like you mentioned, you have to be bold, you have to speak up. But you also believe that, we could speak to other people without insulting them and also take back our power. So I want you to speak on that concept of, not insulting anyone, but taking back the power and taking your credit for whatever that you may have done. That sometimes, unfortunately, people may openly, take credit for things that you did the work for.
So a few things. One is we really have to embrace our talents and our gifts that we have inside. And so I highly recommend that some of the things are really understanding who you are. Really, ask a friend, what are the 5 things you think I'm good at?
Right.
What are the 5 characteristics that you like about me?
Right.
If you can't come up with them yourself, but let me tell you, if you sat down with a piece of paper and said, okay, what are the 5 things that are really special about me? And what are the 5 things that, are really, terrible, I don't like? You could make a list of 25 in no time about those that you don't like.
Of course, easily.
So it's really about, looking at who you are.
Yes.
And the most important thing is learning how to communicate so that you don't insult people. Unfortunately, Saran, I know that you know this, and I know your audience knows this.
Yes.
We've lost our kindness.
Yes.
We've lost our way when it comes to treating each other with respect and dignity. There are many of us that are still behaving the way human beings should behave to each other. But unfortunately, there's a lot of focus on those that don't. And so in speaking up and not insulting people, one of the best things to do is try not to use the word you. If you're having a difficulty with somebody and they are expressing something that you totally disagree with, well, maybe you don't understand it,
right?
Or maybe you do.
Right.
So it's really about learning how to communicate in words. So if you're talking to somebody and they don't have, the same opinion that you have, or they say something to you like, oh, that was a stupid comment, I always speak up and say, "Oh, really? I don't think it's stupid, but I'm going to treat you with respect and dignity, and I would like to be treated with respect too." So
Uh,
that's one of the ways to stand up for yourself. You're not insulting them, and you're really standing up for yourself. Sometimes at meetings, women will present an idea,
right.
and no one responds to it, and then 5 minutes later, somebody else in the room, usually a man, will repeat that idea. And everybody says, "Oh, what a great idea that was. Oh, yeah, John, we
Right,
should do
right.
that."
Of course.
Well, do not remain quiet. Speak up and say something like, "Oh, John, I'm so glad that you agree with the idea that I brought up 5 minutes ago.
Right,
And if you'd like to work with me on it and support it more, I'd be so happy to do that." So people in the room will know that you're not going to let them
right,
claim your ideas without reminding people who had that first. And
right.
if you're a woman, there are a lot of women that have managerial jobs where they're the only female in the room, or there are two of the females in the room. It's important for those two women to get together prior to a meeting and talk about, what are they going to present and how can they support each other. So if someone comes up with an idea and they're talking about it, the second woman could say, "Oh, Saran, can you please expand upon that a little more? I'd like to hear about that." So
Agree.
there are ways to support and help each other.
I agree with
And it
you.
could be a man that says that also.
Of
It
course.
doesn't have to be another woman. So it's
Absolutely.
important to have allies and to talk to people before you present ideas. And
Agreed. So that you all could be on the
going to
same
support.
page so you're not fighting,
Right, exactly.
and stealing from other people. You were listening to Rise on the Voice of Nassau Community College 90.3 WHPC. My name is Dr. Saran Heron, and today we're talking with Francesca Burack, and she's the CEO and president of Fearless Talent Development, Inc., an award-winning seasoned professional with an unwavering commitment to fostering excellence. Francesca brings over 3 decades of experience in executive leadership, talent development, and organizational transformation. She has a keen business sense, is sought after international speaker. She helps to guide others to learn, to grow. Francesca is grounded in empathy, authenticity, and deep-rooted passion for people's development. Her leadership style has earned her accolades in the industry, and she also leads with courage and transforms one vision. She is here today to share her experience, ways you too can be fearless, change, and be empowered to rise. Now, Francesca, part of what you do is that, you believe in affirmations, but in terms of affirmations, you're talking about the one with action, not the one without action. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Affirmations are great. I use affirmations, and then I look at those affirmations and I say, okay, how am I going to help this along?
Right.
This is really important. And I think Oprah once said that affirmations are good, and then they have to be followed up by action.
Yes.
So that they will be successful and you can get what you want. Because I really believe that we can all get what we want if we're willing to do the work.
Yes.
Things just don't fall into your lap. If you listen to a lot of people that
we would like that.
Yeah, right? Oh, sure. Boy, would I love that.
Yes.
But part of that work is, it's this journey and who you meet along this journey and how you can help each other and support each other and bounce ideas off each other. I mean, we human beings are so unique and so fascinating if we stop to listen and question and see how things are done differently than what we want to do them and how we want to do them. Our minds open up, and there may be opportunities to change it and to go in a different direction. That might be a shortcut for you.
I agree.
So it's so important, very important.
Yes.
Action, action, action.
Have to do something about it. Now, in terms of empowerment, the empowerment that you give is not just for women, right? It could be for women or men. So I want you to talk about that whole concept of fight or flight for those who are not familiar with that idea.
Yes. So our brains are really wired for fight or flight. There's this little like it looks like a little button if you look at a diagram of our in the back of our brain called the amygdala. And this is the fight or flight. So years ago, back in the caves, we had to fight or flight or take flight from animals, lions, whatever.
Right.
And the brain still functions like that. So it really takes conscious effort, to move forward when there's fear involved. And, fear will always occur. I don't care who you are, there will be situations where fear will arise. And it's not that fear arises, it's our reaction to it. How do we move past it? How do we not allow it to paralyze us so that we can't move forward? And it's really looking at, I've had experiences before, I can do this,
Right.
And your memory bank, or ask somebody else. Have you had this kind of situation? How did you handle it? Was it successful? And if not, what would you have done differently, or what will you do differently now that you've had that experience? So that whole evaluation of situations and self-reflections is so important. It empowers us. It creates fearlessness, because then we have all this knowledge that we can apply and make things better the next time around. And, sometimes I have to tell you a funny story. I was moving from education. I decided to start my own business, and I was looking for information. And I called this woman, a very well-known woman who had an outplacement firm. And I said, "Hi, I'm Francesca Burack. I'm looking to start my own company, and I wanted to investigate you." And she said, "Investigate? What do you mean investigate? Who are you? Who are you from?"
Your choice of words.
Right. Words are so important.
Yes.
So I was so embarrassed, and she really hung up on me.
Wow.
So I thought about it, and I said, well, I could let this go, but I should really fix this.
Right.
So I thought about, how can I approach this differently? So I called her back, and I said, "Excuse me, I am not investigating you. It's Francesca Burack. I'm coming out of education, starting my own business, and I really wanted to talk to you. I'm doing research on successful women, and I really wanted to ask you some questions so that I don't make the same mistakes starting out." And she was so, she was my best supporter after that.
So it's all about your approach and fixing when you recognize that maybe
Yes.
you came off a little bit different. Maybe a choice of words, like we mentioned. Now, for those who are listening and they are inspired, they want to be empowered and become fearless, just like how you have learned to do so. What are some characteristics that you believe one should have if you were going to call yourself a fearless leader?
Fearless leader. For me, they have to have 5 very good traits. And here they are, according to Francesca Burack. One is transparency. You have to be transparent. You have to say what's going on. If you're a leader and you don't tell your group what's actually happening, they start to hear rumors, and they will fill in the blanks themselves, and their story will be 10 times worse than anything that could possibly actually be happening. So that's number 1. Number 2 is you have to live your values. Just think about it. If someone asked you, what is your number 1 value that you live by? What would your answer be? Jot it down and think about it later. Mine is integrity. I must live in integrity.
My favorite one, too.
Yeah, right?
Yes.
I cannot be unfaithful to my values. I'm married to them, never getting a divorce from them. And that is so important in life. Because when you start giving up your values, you are a very unhappy person. You don't make the right decisions.
Not grounded.
And your life is very complicated.
Yes.
So live by your values. Know what they are. Why would you give up that number 1 value? That's very important. Honesty. Say what you mean and live by the honesty. Do what you say. Say what you mean and do what you say. And that brings in authenticity. You have to be authentic. You can't be changing your mind, going back and forth, up and down. stick to a decision unless you're moving forward with your team and you see that this decision may not be the right one. Then you call the team back together and you start talking about it. If we were on the right track and we were going here, where would we be ending up? If we're on this track, is that leading us to the same place? So that's very important. And vulnerability. I don't have all the answers,
Right,
and neither does anyone else in life.
That's true. That's important to understand.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's okay to say that to your team. We're going to work this out together because each one of you has a perspective that might be different than anyone else's in the room. And that will give us an opportunity to see things in a different light. That's really important. And having compassion for people.
I love that one.
Fire, but having compassion and
very,
doing it in a
important.
way that says, okay, this is going on in your life. That's terrible. Let's see. Can I recommend you going to, a counselor, to HR and getting some help for yourself so that you can meet your deadlines? I can give you a 2-day extension on this, but then it has to be done. So what can I do to support you to meet this deadline? So that's really important. And you have to be passionate. With compassion, the second half of that word is passion. You have to have passion, and you have to be passionate about what you're doing.
Absolutely.
If you don't like what you're doing, oh my
you're going to be miserable.
Right? We spend all of our most of our working time at work. If you don't like what you're doing, or you don't like the people that you're working with, or you don't like your boss, you have to move on. Otherwise, you're just miserable.
Now, Francesca, you believe diversity is important. So I want you to share with a listening audience, why is diversity important to you?
So diversity is extremely important. It goes back to what I was just saying. Diversity, we come from different areas. We come from different cultures. I grew up, now they call it a low socioeconomic environment. I was poor. We were poor. I wore my sister's hand-me-down clothes. I looked terrible. I was ashamed to be seen, really. And, I'm I'm a prime example of the American dream. My middle name could have been No, because I heard all those no's, but I just kept moving forward. So in my life, I lived in a very integrated neighborhood. So I had the opportunity to share and bond with so many different people. And their culture was different than mine. And that cultural diversity, that difference in thought from different economic environments is so important in making decisions, especially for companies, especially for us, to hear how other people are thinking. I always say to people, gee, I never thought about it like that. Can you tell me more? Those are my 3 favorite words. Tell me more.
You were listening to Rise on the Voice of Nassau Community College 90.3 WHPC. My name is Dr. Saran Heron, and today we're talking with Francesca, who is the CEO and president of Fearless Talent Development, Inc., and an award-seasoned professional with unwavering commitment to fostering excellence. She brings over 3 decades of experience in executive leadership, talent development, and organizational transformation. She delivers transformative solutions that empower individuals and organizations. And also, we are talking today about how you can become fearless. She's sharing her experiences and how you can change and be empowered to rise. Now, Francesca, as we've been having conversations about so many things that deals with empowerment, I want you to share with our listening audience, how can they now educate themselves, and, what kind of resources are available to help them get empowered?
Some of the resources, I'd like to just talk to you for a few minutes about rituals. You can be your own resource in a way, for one thing.
Right.
And the second is to keep learning, to do trainings, to read. People don't read today.
Agreed.
Professional journals.
Agreed.
The Harvard Business Review. I can't tell you enough about that. That is filled with so many different articles, and it is such a wonderful resource if you're going to be in business for yourself or you're going to be working inside someone else's company. It is really a terrific resource, and I highly recommend it. And then, the big accounting firms like PwC, Deloitte, those firms have websites with tons of information. It's very important to be knowledgeable about different aspects of business if you want to be successful. And it's all about reading it, thinking about it, analyzing it. People aren't spending enough time reading. They're on their phones. They read, social media,
Yes.
which a lot of times is full of misinformation. It's not that helpful in getting ahead.
Now, I want to get into quickly. I know, we're watching in time where we're getting ready to wrap up the show soon. But you also wrote Women Are Special 1, 2, 3. Tell us quickly about your book and how could others purchase your book.
I love my book. I have to tell you, it's Women Are Special, 123 Reasons Why. I wrote the book because I work primarily with women. I work with men too, because men also have a lot of issues that they need to be worked on. And so I wrote this book because women just don't give enough credit for what we do. We do so many different things. I mean, look, women at the Olympics were pregnant and,
and still doing
won medals. Look at Serena Williams, pregnant, winning that medal. I mean, winning her trophies. So we don't give ourselves enough credit. And the more I was working with women, I kept thinking, oh my goodness, this is terrible. So this book, every page says, Women Are Special, 123 Reasons Why. Women are special because. And so each page has a separate one. And one of my favorites is, Women Are Special because we meet the challenges of being women every day. So it's a great book. You can get it on Amazon. Women Are Special, 123 Reasons Why. It's 1, 2, 3 Reasons Why. Written by Francesca Burack.
Wonderful.
It's just great. I love this little book.
Yes.
And everyone that reads it tells me, oh, God, I love your book. I saw myself in it.
I'm sure it's inspiring. Now,
and by the way, excuse me, men give this book to their wives and their girlfriends, and it really gets them in very well with them.
Well, Francesca, we've I wish we could keep talking, but it was a pleasure to have you here today. I appreciate you taking the time to come on to the program. I hope that, our listeners will get a lot from the program. I'm Dr. Saran Heron. I am so honored to have you on our program. I know it took us a while to make it happen, but your message, your empowerment will be heard by others. I trust those that are listening will get the strength and encouragement they need to rise up and be fearless. Adapt some of the important characteristics and let nothing hold you back. Rise up. Thank you for listening to this week's edition of Rise, available wherever you listen to podcasts, and always right here on the voice of Nassau Community College, 90.3 WHPC.